Hello and welcome to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare post-game show, in the show where I have completed the video game that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the 2019 edition, and going to be taking you through the story, some of the various missions, and also going to be touching on some references. Even though this game is technically a reimagining of the original Call of Duty 4, it doesn't really have any world-ending event like a nuclear bomb going off. It really kind of tells its own personal tale with its characters and really kind of grounds it a little bit, where not everything has to be, hey, if you don't do this, the world is going to end.
But if you stay, you fight.
يلا ناتو. مرحبا لأرزكستان أليكس.
Oh, and I should mention, this being the post-game, there will be spoilers. Chemical weapons are stolen from the Russians, which then leads the military to call in Captain Price as the next line of defense, where then he also meets Sergeant Kyle Garrick.
Okay, Garrick. You're with me.
On the other side of the world, Alex, a CIA operative, teams up with Farah and Hadir, freedom fighters from the fictional country of Urzikstan. The story leads to taking down three men, the Wolf, the Butcher, and General Barkov. We do learn that Hadir has been working with the enemy, as we end up finding out he was the one who stole the gas. After taking down each member, the game ends with the final mission of taking down General Barkov and destroying his gas lab, in which Alex dies as the detonator is damaged and has to manually blow the place up himself, which is a convenient way to kill him to show his admiration for Farah. With the enemy defeated, we find Captain Price forming a new team called Task Force 141, in which he references almost every single character in the Modern Warfare series, which we'll get to in a little bit. One early mission, Piccadilly, has you running through the streets of London while trying to take down terrorists as they try to shoot civilians and cause all kinds of havoc. We also do see suicide bombers and just absolute chaos of cars flying by, crashing into things, and explosions everywhere. While Piccadilly could be seen as a fast-paced mission, one of the later missions right after that is Clean House, which is maybe one of the most stressful missions in Call of Duty history, as you're going through floor by floor trying to clear out terrorists as they hide in closets and walls and using human shields to try and take you down. Climbing stairs with your team while listening to the enemy talk about where you're at or where they're going to hide next really just adds to the stressful tension of this mission, and it doesn't help that most of the level is completely pitch black, in which you'll have to use your night vision goggles to really see what's going on. The standout part of this mission for sure is when you see a terrorist take a woman as a human shield. While it's pretty easy to take out the terrorist, the woman does immediately pick up his gun right after and tries to shoot you as well, which then you kind of have to neutralize her as well. Scenes like these are scenes that you don't really see in video games recently, and especially in big AAA releases like something like Call of Duty. Some of the later missions, codenamed the Embassy and the Wolf's Den, are pretty much the movie versions of 13 Hours and Zero Dark 30. 13 Hours, the movie, the video game, has you running through the embassy while trying to avoid the local militia, and also has you fighting on top of rooftops while trying to extract a high-value target. While Zero Dark 30, the movie, the video game, has you trying to take down multiple high-value targets in a compound that seems eerily similar to that of Zero Dark 30's. Probably the most controversial mission of this campaign is Highway of Death, which is something I'm probably sure you've heard about already, which I'm not going to touch on here. It's a long-range sniping mission in which you also have to factor in long-range bullet drop and also the wind variation. Tell me if you've heard that mission before. Racking up kill after kill after kill in rapid succession can be pretty rewarding, or it can be pretty frustrating if you're just not able to hit the broadside of a barn. In addition to Clean House, the most stressful mission in this game is probably Going Dark, which takes place towards the end of the campaign. Here you'll be shooting out different lights and turning off the power to be able to conceal yourself as you try to search for some specific targets. This mission kind of touts itself as being able to do different objectives in any order, but really you just have 3 buildings and it's not really all that open, as it is pretty linear in the end. You do have Captain Price as an Overwatch in this mission, and he'll be able to take out some enemies for you, but definitely when you get into a building and hearing Captain Price say, hey, I've got no more eyes on you, that's kind of when the stress also ramps up. The last main mission I'll touch on is the mission Old Comrades, which also takes place towards the end of the campaign. You do end up finally tracking down the Butcher, and the really only way to make him talk is to basically threaten his family. This moment really gave me that feeling of, wow, like we're actually going to do this right now, which again is something I haven't felt in a video game for quite some time, and really kind of surprised that it took Call of Duty to be able to do that. Another little part I thought was actually pretty cool was right before it happens, Captain Price comes out and basically asks you, are you in or out, which really kind of gave me flashbacks to the content warning menu-based decision you had to make at the beginning of Modern Warfare 2, which basically allowed you to play or not play no Russian. I really like the way they made you make that decision in the end. It felt like just a much more seamless version of what Modern Warfare 2 did. Of course, there are multiple other missions in this game, but those were the ones that really stood out to me. The last major part I want to talk about in this video are the references to the other Modern Warfare titles. Some of the references I'm sure you caught include the check your corners and Price telling you that we are leaving, and also later Hadir also tells you that your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
I heard that.
The only other main reference I got during the majority of the game was the shock and awe, which Captain Price references the mission in Call of Duty 4 in which the nuke goes off. In a weird way, each time I heard one of these references, it really kind of took me out of the experience, where I just kind of went, oh yeah, that's a reference. There's also some gameplay references, the biggest being Highway of Death, which does seem like a huge reference to All Gillied Up. But another mission, Embedded, does have you laying down while enemies cross over you while you're trying to play dead. It does seem like a pretty big reference to that really famous Call of Duty 4 mission. While Sergeant Griggs and Nikolai show up halfway through the story, the majority of the references come by at the very end of the game. Alright, well, you do get Price's commander telling you that General Shepard pulled a file, and it's apparently Imran Zakhaev that's back, or Viktor Zakhaev, where then Captain Price says, I almost buried him in Pripyat. You do also get references once the files opened up to Soap and Gaz, which you actually found out was Kyle Garrick the entire time. You do also get Ghosts, and you do get Task Force 141 right at their little stinger, and of course at the very end you do get hints of Kamarov and Al-Assad.
Yes, sniper, demolitions, goes by Soap.
Why?
It's classified.
Now, there's a lot there, and I'm not going to go through every single reference. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure there's probably Wikipedia articles and also YouTubers out there that have covered this subject to death already. But without the knowledge of knowing that this new Call of Duty Modern Warfare is just a reimagining and has no ties to the other Call of Duties, this really does set up that it's like a prequel. I mean, pretty much everything that is referenced is almost getting ready to happen or hasn't happened yet. But it really does set up that a new Modern Warfare 2 will be coming in a few years once probably Infinity Ward also takes the reins yet again. But also does leave a lot of questions. Are we going to now play as Soap in the new Modern Warfare 2? Are they going to stay to the main conventions of those games? Because a lot of those things haven't really happened yet. But then also it makes me wonder if we're going to get hints to Makarov or Yuri, which were people in Modern Warfare 2 and 3 that we really haven't heard anything about. But really, those are just some of my thoughts on the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This was a really bit different post-game than I had normally done in the past, where normally I would just kind of sit there and mostly talk about what I'd want something more of a podcast file. Tried to make this a little bit more scripted, but definitely let me know how you thought this went in the comments below, and thanks for watching.